Your regularly scheduled Dustin Pedroia worship programming is coming right up. But first, an important message from No More Fielders regarding the video's context. Now, if you don't want an explanation of why I chose this as the Dustin Pedroia game and just want to hear me talk baseball no filler, please skip to this part of the video. The rest of you I will see in 2 seconds. Although a heavily flawed measure, in the past I've sung many praises for win probability added. At its core, it's very simple. Before every play of every game, each team has a win expectancy. After every outcome, the number changes for both teams based on a confluence of factors such as score, inning, number of outs, and runners on base. Both hitter and pitcher's win probability added are commensurate with the impact of their contribution to each play. And because baseball is a zero-sum game, the amount of WPA gained by one side is equally reduced from the others. Let's use an example in case all of that sounded like gobbledygook. Take this plate appearance from a recent Mets-Yankees game. Luis Guillorme steps up to the plate against Luis Severino with a runner on second, down by a run, and with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Because the Mets' chance to score is increased by having a runner on, failing to reach base will end the inning, and the Mets only have 13 more outs to play with, this is an important situation according to win probability. Luis Guillorme singles to tie the game. The Mets' win probability goes up by 14%, giving Guillorme a 14% win probability added, while reducing Severino's by 14%. Admittedly, it's imperfect. It doesn't take into account any defense, and that's for pitchers too. So for all of you fielding independent pitching nerds out there, it's the pitcher's WPA who suffers from shoddy defense. And even more diabolical, a player can make 7 errors and still be considered WPA positive if they put up a few productive at-bats. What WPA does do a good job of, however, is showing who produced at the plate when it mattered the most. And I genuinely believe there is a correlation of the game's best putting up high WPA numbers, even if it's not a prescriptive forecast of ability. So in this series, I'm going to visit some of our favorite players of years past and present, and cover their highest single game win probability added. Editor's note: we're only looking at regular season games. Postseason games will be a series of its own, so please join me as we look back on the excellent career of Dustin Pedroia summed up in one eventful Colorado evening. June 24th, 2010. The Red Sox faced the Rockies on the precipice of a sweep at the hands of their pseudo-Mountain Time rival, who've historically had their number in the limited amounts of regular season meetups. But the last time the Red Sox were in Coors, they were capping off a World Series sweep in 2007, their second championship of sweeping fashion in 4 years after going 86 long and painful seasons without adding a single World Series banner onto Jersey Street. Now they revisit Colorado, a very similar looking team, retaining the talents of John Lester, Kevin Youkilis, JD Drew, and older and even wiser looking Mike Lowell, David Ortiz, Josh Beckett, and Dustin Pedroia. 2 fresh faces lead off for the Red Sox, and despite putting up quality at-bats, fail to reach base. Dustin Pedroia comes up to the plate batting third, a position he was very unfamiliar with at this time. But something that Dustin was very familiar with was hitting doubles. In fact, he was second in all of Major League Baseball in doubles from his Rookie of the Year award-winning 2007 all the way to 2013. Something else Dustin Pedroia is very familiar with? Doing damage on pitches up in the zone. Put them together, and Pedroia hustling his way into second is almost obligatory. Next up is David Ortiz. You see this? This is David Ortiz's Hall of Fame plaque, and on it is this number. The grandchildren of your grandchildren will see the same plaque and with the same number on it. We don't really know what their reality is going to look like, but what we do know is that 10.5% of those runs driven in were of Dustin Pedroia, more than anyone short of himself. Unfortunately, this at-bat didn't contribute to the 10.5%, as David Ortiz grounds out weakly to shortstop. This segment is sponsored by Factor. As the first ever touring musician / baseball YouTuber, my life can be pretty hectic at times. Unfortunately, this makes food prep very difficult for me. I either have to sacrifice variety, quality, or time. But why should I have to compromise on such an essential? That's why I choose Factor. Factor meals provide a variety of high-quality food that is both easy and quick to prep. They give you the option of over 34 plus flavor-packed, dietitian-approved meals, provided weekly and ready to eat in 2 minutes, shipped directly to you. And for you fellow sustainability stat patters out there, you can rest assured that you're making a sustainable choice. Factor offsets 100% of their delivery emissions, source 100% renewable electricity for their production sites and offices, and features sustainable source seafood in applicable meals. And as if the deal needed to be sweetened anymore, you can visit factor75.com. That is factor75.com, or click the link below and use the code FIELDERS50 for 50% off your first Factor box. Now with Factor, I'm able to spend more time focused on doing what I love while eating a variety of fresh, never frozen meals. It's time to become the greatest common factor. Now back to the video. Yet another holdover from that 2007 team is towing the slab for the Red Sox. The man of a million hip thrusts, Daisuke Matsuzaka. He was a highly touted pitcher from Japan when he came over amid a large bidding war for his services, with the Red Sox going the extra mile both physically and monetarily to meet the demands of Daisuke and his agent, Scott Boras. Despite not initially living up to the hype, he proved to be an effective innings eater for the World Series winning Red Sox before taking his game to the next level in 2008, even with his command being, for lack of a better term, dicey. The wheels fell off the next year as Daisuke, continuing to struggle with his command, lacked the raw movement of his pitches to effectively work his way out of jams, as his homer rate doubled. Now he comes into 2010 trying to prove that he's the pitcher they saw in 2008 and not the previous season. Let's see how Daisuke fares in the first inning. Single walk, strikeout, ground out, strikeout. Not bad. Despite a shaky first inning, he, alongside his counterpart Jason Hammel, cruised through the next 2. Our man of the hour leads off the top of the 4th. Now, a good rule of thumb when you're facing Dustin Pedroia. We've already established Pedroia's ability to feast on pitches up, so for his career, there's really only one zone you shouldn't pitch to under any circumstance, even more so than middle, and that is up and in. Throwing it here allows the 5'9" Pedroia to turn his entire body into the pitch and pull the ball just about as hard as anyone his size could pull it. Jason Hammel plays with some fire when a slider doesn't slide or do really much of anything, but luckily it's too far inside and forces Dustin to turn his body in instead of out. Good job, Jason Hammel. Even better job laying in a beautiful sinker that would have been called a strike if not for an awful framing job by the catcher Olivo. Alright Jason, just get a fastball over, preferably on the outside, and let's get back into this count. You just threw an up and in fastball to Dustin Pedroia.
Uh-oh.
Now this is something that does not, nor ever will get picked up by any metrics, but I do genuinely believe in the value of breaking up a pitcher's rhythm, because after Dustin Pedroia's homer, the Red Sox would post hits in 3 of their next 4 at-bats to take the lead, and give way to my favorite genre of baseball video, AL pitchers hitting in Coors Field. I know we talked a lot about Daisuke's struggles, but he could swing it a little with the bat, including a home run with the Cebu Lions in 2006, and here with the 12th most decisive hit in the 2007 World Series.
There is a base hit for Matsuzaka, and Mike Cameron is going to score.
It's like he never left. With new life breathed into the team, Matsuzaka adopts the bend but don't break rule in the bottom of the 4th, which ends with a great play by
Noted first baseman
David Ortiz. At-bat number 3 for Pedroia is opened up with another what should have been strike being sabotaged by more questionable framing from Olivo. Despite having 2 hits in the game thus far, Dustin refuses to swing the bat when he recognizes he's facing the Franklin Morales, who is notable for sometimes losing all sense of the strike zone, losing all sense of the strike zone. This gets us into an underrated aspect of Dustin Pedroia's career, which is his keen eye at the plate. Due to the fact that he came up hot and heavy as a free swinger, most fans outside of Boston's first interpretation of him was as an aggressive hitter who rarely took the free pass. However, Pedroia would actually develop an all-around patient approach, even placing in the top third of AL hitters for walk rate from 2009 to 2011. But again, when most people think of Dustin, they think of him as a free-swinging bald man. I like to call this the Apple Maps effect. This walk forces Morales to be more aggressive in the zone with Ortiz and Beltre, and more likely than not, one of them is going to make him pay.
We didn't miss that one.
This cushion allows the Red Sox bench to divert a bit of focus away from the game and on their real target, Adrian Beltre's head. Daisuke pitches his best inning of work in the 5th, bookending his night and giving him the old 5 and dive that would become all the rage with starting pitchers in the next decade. But in the bottom of the 6th, the infamous Coors Crooked number rises from the gallows and takes its next victim, despite the best efforts of
Noted first baseman
David Ortiz. 6 runs and 3 pitches later, the Red Sox find themselves staring down the wrong end of the barrel with only 9 outs to play with, having to face Joe Beimel, who halfway through his delivery thinks, you know what, maybe I should throw more like a dad tossing to their kid in a Little League game. Daniel Nava, a player whose Major League debut I will definitely do a full depth project on one day, singles to get us started. And will you look at that, up comes Pedroia, who at this point is at the pain in the neck stage of tormenting Rockies fans tonight, as orated by their announcers.
A pain in the neck, a double, a home run, and a walk, 2 runs scored.
PD is able to lay off 2 potential double play-inducing sinkers before Beimel starts giving him an alternate look with his changeup. Pedroia comes in a bit early on the first one, but gets his timing right and lines the second changeup into center field to set the Red Sox for a big inning in response. Even though he gets erased in a David Ortiz-induced fielder's choice, Pedroia's hit allows the Red Sox middle of the order to jump on the Rockies' relief corps and regain the lead. Scott Atchison, who was both teammates with Edgar Martinez and Francisco Lindor, shuts the Rockies' top of the order down in the bottom of the 7th, and I heard there's somebody of note coming up to bat in the 8th. Can we get a word on this? By this point, Dustin Pedroia has become stepping on a Lego levels of pain for the Rockies. He's 3 for 3 with a home run, double, single, and oh yeah, a walk. The Rockies have already had the win taken out of them multiple times. What more could Dustin Pedroia do to hurt this team?
And he crushed this.
Oh yeah, that. This would be the most seismic hit off of Dustin's bat so far, giving the Red Sox crucial insurance as the midnight oil starts to burn on this game. The Red Sox try to get every drop they can from Axium, but unfortunately, the pride of Denton, Texas runs into some trouble and is replaced by Daniel Bard, a pitcher who in a decade will become very familiar with this ballpark and these fans. In a few years, he would involuntarily make what he thought was his final major league appearance at the age of 28 due to what many would refer to as the yips, before walking onto the Rockies in spring of 2020. He would go on to have the second best season for a Rockies reliever by ERA plus in 2022 in one of the most improbable comebacks this century. But on June 24, 2010, he is a reliever on a fast track to working his way up the ranks of the Red Sox bullpen, being tasked with getting out of situations like the one presented before him to prove that this is where he belongs more than a decade before he'll have to do it all over again. Jason Giambi comes up to the plate. Post-Mitchell report drop, he went into hiding to evade any punishment, and he found the one place where nobody would ever find him: the Colorado Rockies bench. He's developed something of a cult following with Rockies fans for coming through in big situations, even hitting a walk-off homer off of persona non grata Papelbon the game prior. In fact, this year, in these situations, there's an actual 50-50 chance he gets on base. So now,
Ripped to left center field. This will get a run home. Stewart, as it's bobbled in the outfield. And Giambi gets to second.
by this point, the win probability chart is starting to look like a roller coaster that's about to fail a safety inspection. And even though WPA won't account for the benefit of hindsight, Pedroia's home run is looking more and more like the insurance policy that the amusement park owners can use to burn the place down and still make it out on top. After a quiet top of the ninth, Jonathan Papelbon, coming off a blown save the night before, is capping off his not-so-triumphant return to Coors Field, as Bill Hall enters the game in right field, displacing Darnell McDonald, who replaces Mike Cameron in center. 2024 Hall of Fame inductee Todd Helton puts up, dare I say, a Hall of Fame type of at-bat to launch a single into the right field wall.
Center field, and it is off the wall, fouled by Billy Hall, but he still got it in fast enough that Halton will stay at first base.
It should be noted that, like Dice K, Jonathan Papelbon is struggling to recapture the glory that helped bring the Red Sox their last World Series trophy. The sweetest lefty swing since Griffey laces another single to set it up for Brad Hopp. He fights off what would be Papelbon's fastest pitch to tie the score, officially certifying this game a classic. We get a rematch of the final out of the 2007 World Series, and it looks like this game might be over. Hey, and just remember, he started this game in right field. The Rockies have to feel pretty confident bringing in Houston Street, who had one of the best rookie years for a reliever in the 21st century, and while unable to reach those levels since, has proven himself as one of the most reliable stoppers in the game. What they have to feel less confident about is that if anyone gets on base, Pedroia, who is past stepping on a Lego and is in the uncharted giving birth to a whale zone, will get an at-bat with a runner on. Marco?
On the ground at third, it'll be an infield hit.
Polo, bitch. This hit forces the Rockies announcer Jerry Schemmel to utter the last 5 words that he wants to say.
And that'll bring up Pedroia. Strike one. Here's the one strike.
Even though Houston Street would actually locate a decent pitch, when you're hot, everything looks like a match. This would be the single most in-game impactful hit of Pedroia's career until he touched up Houston Street again in enemy territory 6 years later. Jonathan Papelbon redeems himself, but as soon as that last out is made, everyone in the stadium shifts their attention to Dustin Pedroia.
Dustin Pedroia has already had a marvelous career in the early stages, I might add. Has a night for the ages. I don't know if he'll ever have a better night whenever he hangs up the spikes.
The Red Sox would finish their season out of a playoff spot for the first time since 2006, and missed them in 3 consecutive years for the first time since 2002 in the midst of their nightmare Bobby Valentine season. However, under the new direction of the fresh-faced John Farrell, the Red Sox decided to make sweeping changes ahead of the 2013 season, including the decision to start putting Dustin Pedroia third in the order, where he was hitting on the fateful night of June 24, 2010. Where not only was he able to post one of his best career seasons by WAR, he led the Red Sox to their first World Series win clinched on Jersey Street this century.